Hello, tarot lovers. Welcome back to my channel, Tantra and Tarot with Kelly. Today, we're here to discuss the new moon solar eclipse, which is exact October 25th, 2022 at 4:48 a.m. Mountain Time at 2 degrees of Scorpio. Yeah, I'd like to go ahead and start off by wishing a happy birthday to all Scorpios and remind you to go ahead and please subscribe if you haven't already. And thank you so much to all of my subscribers. It helps me grow as a channel and I really appreciate it. Yeah, so today we're going to be doing a reading with the Marigold Tarot along with the I Ching, Animal, Moon, and Archetype decks. So as I'm shuffling, let's get started and talk a little bit more about this moon cycle. Scorpio is fixed water and ruled by Pluto and Mars. Scorpio is about the ability that we have to transform as humans. And Scorpio rules the root chakra and sexual organs and the feeling and urge to have a deep merging with partners and others. So this celestial event will be conjunct Venus, which is coinciding with a new Venus star point, which will allow for deep heart opening and clearing, as well as an opening and clearing for the root chakra. So please join me afterwards, after the reading, for a Tantra yoga session focused on the root chakra. I finished shuffling the one deck, and at the bottom of the deck, when I cut, we've got the Ace of Wands. So we'll see how that comes back into play. I'm going to go ahead and get an archetype card. And then let's continue. Ooh, definitely wants to be that one. Just jumped right out. So let's continue talking a little bit more about this lunation. This lunation could pose some challenges because it has a T-square to Uranus and Saturn. So it could also bring up some surprises as you're navigating through the energy at this time. This is not a time to control outcomes, however, so be very careful about control dynamics and power struggles at this time. You may feel jealousy coming up, or you may also feel a sense of possessiveness. So just be aware of those control dynamic emotions, I would say. We may also hear about secrets coming out or other things coming into the open at this time. However, this is a new moon, and so I want to encourage those who are looking to make changes in their life that this is a time for new beginnings and also a time for change and possible chaos. So focus your intentions on what you are consciously creating right now. I did drop an I Ching card on the floor, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that because I feel like that's going to be an important part of the reading. This will be the first one, and that will be the second one. Okay, so how does this lunation cycle feel to me? Well, it definitely feels like a sweet surrender. So a cathartic emotion, a deep cleansing or purging, even if we are just releasing the fear of change, which can be a huge step to transformation. The South Node, this is the South Node eclipse, so releasing the past is a given, but letting go with love is absolutely key. So have compassion, focus on your values, and surrender sweetly. The purification is an important step in our journey. So find your inner truth and follow through. All right, well, let's take a look at what we have. I'm going to do a main energy, a past, a present, and a future. And at the beginning of the reading, we had that Ace of Wands. So that does speak of a new passionate beginning and could possibly be some sexual energy coming towards you right now. Ace of Wands does represent that. So as you're looking at that new spark, just being aware of what's driving those passions and how to let it flow without trying to hang on too much and control the outcomes, like we said. So the main energy I have for this reading is the Eight of Rings, the past energy, Two of Swords, current energy, Four of Swords, and the future energy I have is the Two of Wands. At the bottom of the deck, I have the Devil card. That is definitely that Saturn influence that we're feeling right now that may be pulling you into areas where you feel like you need to connect yourself to something that may or may not be healthy for you, but either way, there is a strong pull for a connection, could even be a little codependent. So the main two cards I have for the I Ching are number 54 and number 50. So we will read a little bit more about those here in a minute. The moon card I have, oh, I love it. It's the new moon card. It says a new start is coming. That's exciting. This is a new moon. The card I have for the animal spirit is the bee. And the archetype card that jumped out at the beginning is child magical, which is interesting because I did feel that this came out a few times recently. So what does all of this mean? How are we surrendering sweetly during this lunation? Well, no matter what, you're going to have to put effort in. This is the 8 of rings. This is the 8 of pentacles, and it does take hard work and effort over time to move forward, to create change in your life. A lot of times with the 8 of pentacles, we see somebody working on creating a plate, and they've created 8 plates. And so with each one, they get better. So with each cycle of change, you become more of yourself. And without putting effort in, though, you may feel a sense of stagnation. So this is about making a decision, Two of Swords, to put effort into an area of your life that maybe has been on pause for a while. We have the 4 of Swords here. Could be things that have that you've thought about making changes of, but maybe you weren't quite ready yet. And right now, the universe may be forcing you into deciding what it is that you need to let go of that may be holding you back in ways that are negative. And unfortunately, a lot of times when it comes to addictions and old patterns, we tie ourselves to those patterns, and we do have the ability to release them on our own. It's our choice to tie ourselves to the things that may or may not be healthy for us at this time in our lives. So could be old stories that you're telling yourself, things that have brought you down over time that you weren't ready to let go of. Perhaps they were offered a sense of identity to you, and that identity may have been related to a pain cycle or something that you are now working through. So putting the extra effort in on the material plane is going to make a difference in your spiritual life and in your spiritual world, given time. Absolutely focusing your intent in meditation on where it is that you want to release and change. And what that's going to do is going to open up a doorway for you where you have the ability to look at your world from many different angles prior to engaging or deciding where to go next. So could feel like a pause to make a decision, to decide where you're going to be moving forward and working. We do have Pluto, which is the ruler of this lunation, in Capricorn right now. So I do feel that this Capricorn element, which is helping us determine certainly what is important to us on the material plane, where we may find a sexual connection with others, especially as we saw that Ace of Wands, and how that is going to help transform us, or if there are things in the past that we need to let go of surrounding those topics. Maybe you had sexual trauma in your life, or you have a hard time really connecting truly with another because there is a blockage in your root chakra. So how are you going to work through that? I do suggest, like we mentioned, the yoga and opening of that energy center, but also having faith and allowing things to transform around you in a way that, like we said, you aren't trying to control outcomes, rather sitting at the threshold and at the helm, seeing what is coming towards you and deciding how you want to engage with it. So well, let's take a look at some of these other energies that we have right now. Absolutely, with a new moon, a new start is coming. You do have to release the old, especially in this cycle, because this cycle is ruled by the South Node, which is the past. So by doing that, you are allowing for more fresh new energy to come through. And where we will find completion in those goals that you're setting at this time and those decisions that you're making and what you're cutting off will come to more of a fruition in the springtime during the Taurus season, we will have the conclusion of this ecliptic cycle. So very exciting there. So definitely setting your intentions forward 6 months on how you'd like to have your life look at that time. The busy bee, the bee we have here reminds us that sometimes it feels like we are not getting enough rest, that we were being worked so hard, so much energy going into that of which we are trying to manifest, that we may end up feeling cranky or feel like we need to sting someone, much like the tail of the scorpion, which is the archetype of the Scorpio, one of the 3 archetypes of Scorpio, one of which is the scorpion, and then it transforms into the eagle and ultimately into the phoenix. So as we are going through this transformation from scorpion to phoenix, there may have been people that we have burned in the past with our stinger that perhaps you owe an apology to, or this may happen as you are releasing and focusing on what that is you need to work on. If it's been a little heavy, if it's been too much effort, then finding time to pause. The bees don't seem to sleep. And so that is a key phrase. If you're stinging others, then take it in, meditate, find your center, slow down, and then move forward in a way where you are consciously creating and not having unconscious pain come up in which you could hurt others in your process. So yeah, but the bees definitely like to make honey. So finding that sweet spot within yourself for others to come meet you at will be beneficial as we're working on those deeper relationships and how we can connect deeper with others. It does take a release of the things that are holding us back and a vulnerability. And so feeling vulnerable can be an extra challenge at this time. And when you do so, it may feel like you need to protect yourself, but that is part of the beauty of the opening that we're going through. So yeah, and when you're opening up, what comes out? Mostly some of that inner child wounding, but also some of that magic that you feel as you're getting lighter and younger within your own body. It says here, light attributes, seeing the potential for sacred beauty in all things, the belief that everything is possible, which absolutely it is, and setting your conscious intention on it will help bring it to fruition. The shadow attributes, pessimism, depression, and disbelief in miracles, believing that energy and action are not required for growth. Well, we are seeing right here that absolutely action and energy are required for growth, and it does take hard work. So say you're trying to change your diet right now, so you want to try to heal your gut or do various things to help benefit your health. It's going to take sustained energy over time. In the first few weeks that you're into it, it may not feel like you've got it down yet, but then as you continue to work through it, it does seem to get easier and easier as you get better at what it is that you're doing. So keep working on it. If you feel frustrated or depressed, take a pause, like it says, and then start renewed the next day, but with your eye on the prize. Okay, so we're looking at 2 different cards here. We're looking at number 54, and we are looking at number 50, the cauldron. And I'm trying to find my book here. Let's see here. Did I leave it over here? Yep. There we are. Okay, let's look these up. All right, so number 54 is transformational energy of somewhat feeling left out or second best. Refers to sometimes the second wife. And it is in this deck called Careful Affection. So affection is an important part of intimate relationships, but it must be handled carefully to be both satisfying and supportive of each other, of each person's self-respect. For instance, a married person's secret lover would have the conflicted feelings of affection coupled with insecurity. Relationships that are based on personal attraction, especially those that are unconventional, require special attention and a cautious measure of tactful reserve. To overcome challenges and achieve longevity in relationship, you need to remain mindful of extreme feelings of attraction, as well as the transitory nature of most relationships. It is an irony of life that the happiest people are those who have what they want and also want what they have. It's easy to make disastrous mistakes when you venture outside the realms of proprietary. If you assert yourself too much or try to make yourself indispensable, you will invite misfortune. If you're in doubt as to whether or not you should follow your heart or your head, allow some time to pass, and perhaps the answer will become clear, likely through meditation, like we discussed. Boldly asserting yourself right now could bring misfortune, so do not attempt to be overtly creative or attract much favorable attention. At the same time, allowing yourself to drift aimlessly can be a mistake. Find balance in a middle way. So yeah, seeing what you're attached to, seeing like what sort of relationships that may have had this type of careful affection where you're having to tiptoe around things in order to feel yourself, then that's a clue for you. That's a red flag to say that this relationship may need to be transformed, because either I'm not fully living in my truth, or there's something about the relationship that's not giving me the respect that I deserve. All right, moving on to number 50, and then we will look at the special line between the two. Number 50, the cauldron. And this does remind me of that depth of transformation where you bring things into a new way through alchemizing the ingredients that you're putting in. So let's see what we're putting into the cauldron here during this witchy time. All right, the cauldron symbolizes nourishment and rejuvenation. Sooner or later, good comes to those who do good. Joy comes to those who bring joy to others. Opportunity comes to those who persist in their dreams, and obviously working very hard at those dreams as well. Rejuvenation is returning to one's natural desires and the recharging of batteries that comes from making progress towards one's aspirations. This reading suggests nourishment and transformed for people of goodwill. Good fortune and success are indicated here. So definitely staying connected with the heart chakra, staying within your heart element. And if you get stuck in the head, coming back to the heart and listening to those messages. Healthy, regular sustenance is vitally important and symbolized by the cooking pot, which provides nourishment to all. When the cycle of humanity reaches its apex, each person's sustenance comes in the form of fulfilling their deepest needs and desires, those deep needs and desires that we feel in this Scorpio element. Rejuvenation means that people in an honorable pursuit of their dreams are properly nourished and valued. When a society is functioning properly, such people are supported and encouraged to contribute their best abilities. A fresh approach to old habits is indicated. Look for ways of putting new life into old forms. Only when great vitality is present can real breakthrough be achieved. So feeling the life within your changes. If it's just a dead thought, then it's not going to transform. You have to nourish those thoughts and nourish those areas of life where you're trying to grow in order to get that transformation to happen. So let's see what the changing lines are between number 54 and number 50. We've got number 1, number 3, and number 6. So 1, 3, and 6. Let's read line 3 of card number 54 for a special message about this time. It says here, strong desire for forbidden or unobtainable fruits does not lower the branches of the fruit-bearing tree. Still, there is not much blame in this. So as we feel our desires, if we're truly feeling into our desires, like we saw in the Ace of Wands and we see in the Devil card, being aware of what may be taboo for us to engage in. For example, it's if you're coveting somebody else's girlfriend or wife, engaging in a sexual act with them, that does not make that right. So being very aware of your passions and where they're leading you right now. We are all human. And so how can you engage in those passions and those urges in a healthy way as to bring about new values in your life that are going to help you transform into that lovely, beautiful butterfly self that you are becoming at this time? So yeah, just some thoughts of wisdom there. And hopefully you all would like to join me in a Tantra yoga session for the root chakra. I'm going to be starting up right after this message. So please stay tuned for that and have a very lovely new moon solar eclipse in Scorpio. For our Tantra practice, we will be practicing 10 asanas for root chakra. Please meet me in Sukhasana. You may sit on a blanket or pillow as it is comfortable. Cross your legs, open your knees wide, draw your outer hips down, press your sits bones into the earth, stack your shoulders over your hips, and lengthen your spine. Hands may be in chin mudra with index and thumb finger connected, resting on your knees. Take a moment to clear your mind of any thoughts of the day, creating space for yourself for this practice. Take a deep inhale through your nose and exhale through your nose. Inhale slowly and exhale slowly, feeling yourself grounded on the mat. During practice, we will use Ujjayi breath, constricting the back of the throat so your breath sounds like an ocean wave. We will move through poses 1 through 9 twice, and then end with our peak pose. In Tantra Yoga, we use Mula Bandha, which is a slight contraction of the root chakra, like you are gently engaging your low abdominals. You may use this during practice if you choose. Let's start with a few rounds of Samavriti, square breathing. Inhale for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath on the outside. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now do one more round on your own. Come forward onto all fours. Then lower into Balasana, child's pose. Open your knees wide, bring your big toes to touch, bend your knees, and bring your hips towards your heels. Lengthen your spine, reach your arms forward, spread your fingers, and place your forehead on the mat. You may take claw hands and raise your palms off the mat to stretch your wrists and under the shoulders. Breathe here for 5 rounds of breath. With each inhale and exhale, sink a little deeper. Inhale, then come through all fours. Tuck the toes and straighten the knees so there is just a small bend. Send your hips back and up for Adho Mukha Savasana, downward facing dog. Engage your abdominals and pull your front ribs in. Place your hands shoulder width distance and spread your fingers wide. Press your thumb and forefinger into the mat and keep your neck neutral, gazing back. You may gently lift one heel, then the other, but then find stillness and take deep breaths in and out of the nostrils 5 times. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and look to the front of the mat. Baby step your feet to meet your hands for Uttanasana, forward fold. Surrender over straight legs and draw your tailbone up. Draw your shoulders away from your ears and relax the neck. Inhale, then exhale and sink a little deeper, allowing the hamstrings to gently open. Breathe here for a few more rounds. Inhale and roll up one vertebrae at a time for Tadasana, mountain pose. Inhale and lift your arms up to the sky and open the palms wide to the front. Bring your big toes to touch, press the corners of your feet down, engage your legs, engage your abdominals. Draw your tailbone down, lift your chest up. Draw your shoulder blades together and down your back. Lengthen your neck. Breathe in and breathe out for 5 rounds. Inhale and exhale. Surrender forward. Place your hands on the mat and step back into downward dog. Lift the right leg off the mat, then bend the knee into your chest and bring the right knee to the right wrist. Square the hips and lower into Eka Pada Raha Kapotasana, half pigeon pose. Work your shin forward and flex the right foot. Extend the left leg straight back. Option to put a block under the hips for support. Then surrender over the right leg, bringing your forehead to the mat. Breathe into the tight spots. We will hold for 5 rounds. Inhale, then gently sweep your left leg over your right, stacking your ankle over the knee for half lotus or fire log. If it is comfortable, surrender over your legs. Breathe here for 5. Inhale, place your hands on the mat, sweep your right leg straight back for Ekapada Raha Kapotasana on the other side. Work your left shin forward and flex the foot. Option to use the block as you did on the other side. Surrender over your left leg and reach your palms to the front of the mat. Place your forehead on the mat if possible. Slowly press back up. Sweep your right leg over your left, stacking your ankle over your knee for half lotus on the other side. If it's comfortable, surrender over your legs. Breathe here. Inhale, uncross your legs and press up into Malasana, low squat. You may use a block under your bottom as needed to support this posture. Bring your hips low and put your feet out slightly, a little further than hip distance. Bring your heels to the mat. Use your elbows to press against the inside of your knees with hands in prayer position. Inhale and exhale. Pull your belly into your spine and breathe here for 5 rounds. To come out of this posture, release the arms and gently bring your legs to the front. You may windshield wiper them if that feels good. Slowly roll all the way to the back. Lift your legs up to a 90-degree angle, preparing for Salamba Sarvangasana, supported candle pose. Lift your hips off the floor, rolling onto your shoulders. Keep the neck straight, gazing at the ceiling. Bend your elbows and use your hands to prop up your hips, keeping your legs straight. Point the toes at the ceiling. Breathe in and breathe out for 5 rounds. Slowly release, one vertebrae at a time. Sit up tall and bring your legs to the front. Bend your right knee and pull your heel in. Sit up tall for Janu Sirsasana, head to knee pose. Option to put a rolled blanket or pillow underneath the straight leg. Pull your abdominals in. Pull the flesh of the hips to the back. Inhale, then exhale, surrender over the straight leg. Breathe for 5 rounds. Breathe into the tight spots. Inhale and exhale. And release. Now bend your left knee and pull your heel in. Sit up tall, pull the abdominals in, and bring the flesh of your hips to the back with the right leg straight. Inhale, then exhale, surrender over the straight leg. Breathe. Set up this side as you did the other. And release. Now we will move through each pose one more time, but hold for only 3 counts. Come forward onto all fours. Then lower into Balasana, child's pose. Open your knees wide, bring your hips towards your heels, lengthen your spine, and reach your arms forward. Breathe here for 3 rounds of breath. Inhale, then come through all fours, tuck the toes and straighten the knees. Send your hips back and up for Adho Mukha Savasana, downward facing dog. Engage your abdominals. Spread your fingers wide. And find stillness. Take 3 breaths. Inhale and look to the front of the mat. Baby step your feet up to meet your hands for Uttanasana, forward fold. Surrender over straight legs and draw your tailbone up. Relax the neck. Inhale, then exhale and sink a little deeper, allowing the hamstrings to open. Breathe here for 3 rounds. Inhale and roll up 1 vertebrae at a time for Tadasana, mountain pose. Inhale and lift your arms up, and then open your palms wide to the front next to your hips. Press the corners of your feet down. Engage your legs. Lift your chest up. Breathe here for 3 rounds. Inhale and exhale. Surrender forward. Place your hands on the mat and step back into downward dog. Lift the right leg off the mat, bend the knee, and sweep it forward for Ekapada Rakapatasana, half pigeon. Work your shin forward and flex the right foot. Surrender over the right leg, bringing your forehead to the mat. Breathe. Inhale, then gently sweep your left leg over your right, stacking your ankle over your knee for half lotus, fire log. Surrender over your legs. Breathe here for 3 rounds. Inhale, place your hands on your mat, sweep your right leg straight back for Ekapada Raha Kapotasana on the other side. Work your left shin forward and flex the foot. Surrender over your left leg and reach your palms forward. Slowly press back up. Sweep your right leg over your left, stacking your ankle over your knee for half lotus. Surrender over your legs and breathe. Inhale, uncross your legs and press up into Malasana. Use a block, if you need it, underneath your seat. Bring your hips low and put your feet out. Use elbows to press against inside of your knees and hands in prayer position. Inhale and exhale. Release your arms and bring your legs to the front. You may windshield wiper them, then slowly roll all the way back onto your back. Lift your legs to a 90-degree angle. Prepare for Salamba Sarvangasana. Lift your hips off the floor, supporting your hips with the hands. Keep your legs straight, toes pointed to the ceiling. Breathe in and breathe out for 3 rounds. Slowly release 1 vertebrae at a time. Sit up tall and bring your legs to the front. Bend your right knee and pull your heel in for Janu Sirsasana, head to knee pose. Pull your abdominals in and pull the flesh of your hips to the back. Then surrender over the straight leg and breathe for 3 rounds. And release. Now bend your left knee and straighten your right. Sit up tall, pull in the abdominals. Surrender over the straight leg. Breathe. And release. Now, for our peak pose, we will move into full lotus, Padmasana. Be very gentle on your knees. You may start with your favorite side, then move into your non-dominant side. Try each one for 5 counts. Sit up tall, lengthen the spine, stack your shoulders over your hips. Lift your right ankle over the left thigh and the left ankle over the right thigh. Hands may be in chin mudra, with index and thumb finger connected, resting on your knees. Take 5 deep breaths. Option to try the pose on the opposite side. Hold for 5 rounds. Now close your eyes and imagine a red light at the base of your spine. Take 3 deep inhales and exhales and move the light through the Sushumna or spinal channel all the way up to your third eye center. Thank you very much for practicing with me today. We will do 3 ohms to end practice. Om. 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 Bring your hands to the third eye and bow forward. The light within me sees the light within each of you. Namaste. Please subscribe to my channel for more Tantra and Tarot. Have a blessed and beautiful day.